Hi everybody, welcome to Paper Wishes weekly webisodes, and I have got this great collection of cutting dies and stamp from our friends at Hunky Dory Crafts. These are moonstone cutting dies. We've got portrait flower cutting dies. This is daffodil, calla lily, tulip, and also wavy border sections, which make really cool borders. And then from the Love of Stamps by Hunky Dory, we've got all occasion sentiment strips. They make beautiful cards like this one my friend Debbie made. Isn't that gorgeous? I can't wait to show you what else she came up with, so come back and play with us. So this first gorgeous slimline card that Debbie made uses the tulip die, see right here, and it's got this beautiful decorative edge that she used. This one right here, it's got this beautiful little cutaways and then the little scallops, and I've got it right here with little tape on it. And I'm going to show you how she put this together. She's got a nice double edge here. So the first thing is she used a slimline card, which is 3.5 by 8.5, and then she also used gingham #1 paper pack. There's a beautiful red gingham in here, and then also the coordinating red cardstock. All right, so to do this technique, Debbie cut away from her slimline card from just the front flap. Let's see, how much did she cut away? About 1.5 inches from the front. And then, if you can see here, she just glued those borders on there, which is so nice because you can use this with any size die cutting machine. So the first thing is she laid the die, okay, like upside down again. Let's see. There we go. You light it like this because this is the right side. Just right along the edge here. Boy, I'm really having directional issues today. There. Okay. The scallop edge goes on the outside edge. And she went ahead and die cut that. This was initially the same size as the card. So she cut her original paper 3.5 by 8.5 and then just cut it like this. And then she made this mat. Okay, so you can see the dies are not long enough for the slimline. So how to repeat? So the first thing, you want to do this first one and leave a nice width to the right. You want a nice amount of space. And then she placed this one where she wanted it, so she'd have a nice little scalloped red edge there. So once that's gone through the die cutting machine, then there's just this nice little tab right here for an overlap. And if you just place it right like that, and then, so you can see that, if you overlap those little scallops, then it's just going to cut beautifully. There we go. And it's really easy to overlap just this last little scallop right there. And then you just run that through the machine again and you'll get this lovely edge. And so first she glued down the red, okay, cardstock, and then topped it off with this one right here. And then cutting the image for the tulips was easy. She cut it out of the red and green cardstock from the solid cardstock pack. Cut this originally out of black for her outline, and then did the red and green, and then just filled those in, just glued those little pieces in. And then this is so cool with her little stamped sentiments strips, which are so nice, sending love to a special couple, just using black ink on that. It's kind of a, she used sort of a, well, a sort of a single stamping, single ink technique. So it's kind of a gray, it's kind of a distressed gray look, but it is using a black ink pad. All right, so let's move on to the next one. She did so many cool cards. Here we go. So this one is the daffodil, and I've got lots of pieces to show you here. Of course, I just put everything else on top of it. All right, so for the daffodil card, there's a cool cutaway going on here. And then once again, she made her borders so that they would fit through any size die cutting machine. All right, so let's start with the base of the card and how that works. So this is a 6.5 by 5-inch card. And the first thing Debbie did was to cut away from the card front, okay? She cut away on each side. So I marked it right here. It's 3/4 of an inch that she cut this away. Well, rather, actually, this is 1.5 inches. I'm getting confused on my measurements. 1.5 inches from each side. Okay, so once those are cut out, cut away, then this is what you've got left, all right? And then She actually marked it 3/4 of an inch from each side, and I've got my little marks there. So it's 3/4 of an inch, and that's where she put her other die, which is just sort of a thin S kind of die. Where did it go? Where did it go, Lene? I think I lost it. That's okay. We'll get it from in here. So she took this die that's on the very right side here, and it's wonderful for creating those curves. I'm going to find that other die when we're done. It's going to be someplace strange. Okay, so she placed that, did her cutaway by turning it over and placing it like that. All right, and so right on that 3/4 of an inch mark, that's where she placed that. And then of course we want to use some low-tack tape to tack that down, and then you can run it through your die cutting machine without any issue at all. Okay, and then she made her little topper pieces right here. So for those, okay, so for that one, she started with a piece of cardstock. I should mention that the little patterned paper right here comes from Poppy's 12 by 12 pattern cardstock, and the rest of this is made using the Poppy's solid cardstock. So this solid cardstock measures 2¼ inch by 5 inches, and that she used this die right here, this one right here, to make this gorgeous edge. Okay, and she die cut that twice. Now, one of the edges is a reverse, so you want to be able to put it like this. Now, all she had to do with that is she cut it from this, there's 2 colors of yellow, there's dark yellow and the light yellow. She cut it in this direction, and then she just flipped it over so that you have like the reverse pieces. And then she just glued those to the inside flap like that. I cut mine a little bit longer so that they could be trimmed because I wanted to make sure. Okay, and then you just glue those to the inside of the flap like she did. And I highly recommend, before gluing them down, taking your green ribbon right here, and this is like a little glimmer ribbon. Let's see if I can find it. And actually, you know what? I think she listed that she used green ribbon, but I think she actually used the glimmer ribbon set on this because it's a different color green. So I'll make sure that's corrected on the supply list, but we can use this one for now. So you just take this, and then you can thread it through these little ribbon kind of cutaways, and you just thread it up and down like that. And then when you get to the end, you're just gluing it to the underside. Like that. Really simple and fun. So I would do that first and then glue them down just so that it's not so cumbersome with the card. So that's how you're doing this side right here. And then of course she just topped that up by tying a bow and then gluing it there. She didn't actually tie it from there. And then right here we've got some thin line Dazzle stickers in the dark green. These are the primary set. And of course we've got the primary colors, then we added some other necessary colors. So the green one's right there. And then for her little piece here, for this sweet little daffodil, she cut that out of a nice lime green that's also from the solid paper pack. And then backed that with, remember on the other side, we've got this nice golden yellow, and on the other side it's a light yellow. And just took this and just added a little bit of Cosmic Shimmer glue. You could use sticky specks for this too. I find though that for detail work like this, it's just faster just to use a little bit of glue. I like to use the sticky, ooh, glue side down. I like to use the sticky specks for kind of larger areas. I don't mind just popping a little glue on there. It just takes a few minutes, a few seconds actually. And then we're just going to take our tiny little scissors and we're just going to cut around this blossom. And we're going to do the same thing to the stems using a darker shade of green also found in that solid collection. And my cutting tip is, you'll notice I'm turning the paper and not the scissors. And that just makes for faster cutting, cleaner cutting, like that. All right, did I address everything here? Oh, she did foam tape that flower to the card front, as well as those little greetings, which she stamped with green ink. Beautifully done, Debbie. I think she did an amazing job. All right, so this last card, this one is using the Calla Lily. This die is so cool. And for her card, this is a 5 by 6.5 inch card. And she used the new Window View 12 by 12 pattern cardstock. This beautiful sort of a dark blue with this beautiful border here. And then I think she matted, yeah, she matted this piece right here with that nice purple solid cardstock. So what did she use for this one? She used a little bit of watercolor cardstock for the background here. And then she die cut her Calla Lily again from watercolor cardstock, so that when you're all done with this technique I'm going to show you and it's all dry, she just glued that on top of that. So it's got a little bit of a raised edge. Okay. And then she matted it and then wrapped it with a little bit of purple baker's twine that comes from the purple ribbon set. All right, so this technique I think is so cool. And I'm going to grab my craft mat because it's time to get messy. All right, so what she did with that is she used some Pixie Sparkles. This is Zesty Lime. And then we've got Groovy Grape. And then also a couple of alcohol markers. So these are Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers. And this one is in Lavender Blend, and this one is in Light Green Blend, and it's the darker shade. And Debbie shared with me what she did was she painted, using some water, she painted the inside of the Calla Lily, but the outside edge, she used the markers to outline them so they really stood out. So this is what I would recommend doing. First, now you could either evacuate these pieces and then take the darkest shade of this purple marker and going around those outside edges like that. Or if you're feeling like you can go ahead and leave those pieces in, go ahead and do that. And we can like zoom in a lot. And just go around it like that. Oh, that's great, Jeanette, thank you. And we're gonna go around just like that. And if you just kind of slop a little bit of ink onto the surface, that's okay. It's going to get covered up by the Pixie Sparkles. But I guess just try not to color the whole thing. All right, I'm just going to do the blossom part, but then you would do the same thing in the green marker for the stems. Oh, stuck to my hand. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this piece back because I think this technique is easier when everything is already there and not evacuated. All right, now we're going to take a water brush. Okay. Ooh, my water level is quite low. And we're going to take the Groovy Grape. I'm just going to put a little bit right there. I'm going to add the water brush. And with the water brush, you just squeeze out a little bit of water. And then you're just going to paint that. Now, you might ask why we are using like an alcohol marker with the water. And the reason is if we used another kind of marker that was not alcohol, that was water-based, it would just blend really, and it would just be muddy. These two colors would interact because they're both water-based. So you want one that is water-based, which would be the Pixie Sparkles medium, and then you want one that is alcohol-based, which would be the markers, so that they're not interacting. And now I'm just going over this without really any additional water because I'm seeing that Debbie used hers with really hardly any diluting here. Just the moisture that's on the brush. And when you do that, I'm getting that really opaque and then that really shimmer on there. Okay. Yeah, there we go. I think I'm getting closer to what she did. I'm gonna take a little tiny bit of water from over there and then just paint this here. And you see what I mean about not being worried about kind of slopping over on the pen? It's fine. All gonna look great. And the pen really does a nice job of outlining it. And of course this Pixie Sparkles is going to, when it's dry, it's gonna dry a little differently than the outline of the pen. And if you're finding that you want the outside edge even darker, which I would probably go over this again in marker because I feel like it could be darker. I think like hers was. All right, so you get the idea, right? So we're gonna, continue to do that all the way down with the green, okay? And then that's just that beautiful shimmer she came up with. Oh, great technique, Debbie. All right, so you guys, great money saver. My desk is a mess. There we go. Great money saver on all of these dies and the stamps. So I really encourage you to check that out. It's right over there on Paper Wishes webisode page. And if you're watching us on YouTube, we haven't forgot about you. Just look below the description box and you will see, look below in the description box and you'll see a link that'll take you right over to this Paper Wishes webisode page. And you'll find everything that I used. All the products are listed there. And hey, subscribe. We do 4 to 5 of these videos a week, and I wouldn't want you to miss anything. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps people find our channel. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.